All right, folks. I am here with Tito Ortiz, Huntington Beach bad boy of the UFC. Got a lot of questions for you, Tito. Got a lot of questions and some from my audience as well. Um, first and foremost, I want to touch a little bit on your let's call it your political stint you did, and what disenfranchised you, or what made you step away from it. We'll get into that, but first, you have a fight coming up September 11th against Anderson Silva, and surprise, surprise, to me, even myself, I was surprised. It's a boxing match.
Yep. I'm excited, man. It's just, I've been boxing now for the last like 10 years. But, for 24 years, we got to spar for MMA. So, you got to put on boxing gloves, you got to put on headgear, you got to punch. But actually, now I'm taking away the kicking and the elbowing and the kneeing. So now it's strictly punching. But the last 10 years, that's what I've really been focusing on because I want to get my hands good. And working with Jason Perillo from Ruka, he has great world champions like Michael Bisping, BJ Penn. He's worked with some of the greatest. We work right now. The work that I've been putting in with them has just been really focusing on my boxing. And it's been great for my body because I'm not wrestling, I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm strictly focusing on the fundamentals of the perfection of boxing, man. It is literally like playing chess. It is very difficult, very methodical. We got to use a lot of mindset just for the boxing of punching position, keeping yourself in good defense position. And I think once again, it's just the sweet science of boxing that I'm learning.
It's a beautiful sport. It's a high-speed chess match. And, I used to work with Jason when I was training with Jesse Reed. Jason would work the mids with me, and he would sit there and he would take my hooks and everything. And I got to tell you, if you just want my 2 cents from what I've seen with Anderson, if you want my 2 cents from what I've seen on him, just looking at him and I looked to watch a little of his sparring and his fights, I like to call him a chin floater. So he floats his chin and
Yes.
And he steps back with his chin in the air. So if you just pivot and double up on your shots, you'll catch him and knock him out. Just saying, just from what I saw.
Well, I think we all seen the same thing because Jason, we've all worked on the same stuff, and it's good that I've had some really good sparring partners. I sparred my first time on Friday. We still got a month till the fight. I haven't done anything really in about a year and a half. I got this call, I think it was on July 19th, that asked if I'd fight Anderson Silva. And I was like, hey, give me the opportunity, please. And since then, I've been training. My weight went from 240 down to 224.
It's good.
Today I'm a little heavier, about 226. But I had a great dinner last night. I actually had my first carbs this morning that I've had in the last 2 weeks. So I think my energy is a little better than what it was. But once again, I just, when I get the opportunity, I take advantage of it no matter what. Through my whole career, I've been fighting for 24 years. I've been fighting for a long time at a high level. But now at the boxing level, I could put a lot more focus strictly into boxing and watching tape, watching a lot of other boxers, like Tyson, Canelo, and try to just pick apart little small things of punching, of not really smothering myself with punches and trying to step back. But once again, with Anderson, he's a longer guy, faster guy, good with his hands, but does have a suspect chin. But once again, I got to punch his chance. Give me an opportunity. I'm a fighter, man. And I'm going to go in. I'm going to try to put on a show as I always do.
I think, from what I've seen with Anderson, he leaves his chin a little long in the air. So I think if you commit with the shot and then pivot off it and pop, double up on it, I swear, Tito, that could be all she wrote. That's just that's what I'm seeing. Because those guys, they drag their chin. And then if you come in with either a quick shot and then 2 power shots afterwards, or a power shot and then double up on the next 2 shots, I think you got this guy. And I know Jason will be working on that with you. He's a great mitt man. And let's just jump into some more questions here, man. And by the way, the odds of this fight are they're obviously in Anderson's Silva's favor. He's -500. Tito Ortiz plus 350. Is that still the odds?
I guess so. I really don't care.
You're like, fuck, that's news to me.
Give me an opportunity, like I say, man. I really don't care about odds. I'm always my back's pushed against the wall. I fight the best. And once again, man, I'm getting to a game that I know a little bit about, but I'm aggressive.
I give you props, man. I give you props for doing this. And so this is on the Triller Fight Club card on September 11th with Oscar De La Hoya. He's fighting Vitor Belfort, correct?
Yeah, and Oscar, I think he has his hands full with Vitor, man. Vitor is a great boxer. He's always been a great boxer. Golden gloves from Brazil. So I
What's your
think
thoughts
Oscar
on that
might have
fight?
done more than he should.
What's your thoughts on that fight?
I think Oscar's gonna get clipped with some punches. Belfort can punch. He can punch. He can punch hard. He's a bigger guy. He's fast. But once again, Oscar is a gold medalist, man. A former world champion. I think he's it's 8-time world champion.
Isn't Vitor bigger than him naturally?
A lot bigger.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
size and height and weight. But I mean, they got to get down to 180. So that may be one of the things. Belfort at 180. He's a lot weaker. I mean, the same situation happened with Anderson Silva. I mean, the contract's supposed to be done by, I think, the third week of July, and we didn't get it done until the second week of August. And it was just like mind-blowing that he was just pushing so hard for me to get down to 195. And people got to understand, I haven't been down to 195 since my sophomore year in college when I wrestled.
Oh, damn.
And they made 205 because of me. It used to be 199, but when UFC got bought by the Fertittas, they asked me, Tito, what would be your perfect weight? And I go, you make it 205, it's perfect. I walk around about 215, 220. I can make 10 to 15 pound cut, and it's easy. I mean, not easy, but I got to make little sacrifices.
You're not going to feel drained.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm lean as hell when I do it, but Anderson made it like a fact. I'm like, either you take the fight or you don't. You got to make 195. And I was like, okay. I ain't gonna let this fight get away from me. I've always wanted to fight Anderson. You know what, the hell with it. I'll try to kill myself to make 195. Now, if I don't make 195 and I make over to, 198, they take 20% of my purse. If I make 200, they take away 30% of my purse. So you know what? I'm gonna pay him to kick his ass, and I'm still gonna try to make the weight. But it is what it is, and I'm gonna put on a show. I'm gonna fight my heart out, and that's just how I do, man. I've always
absolutely.
been like,
listen, you were. You were one of the rising stars in the UFC. I think you built the UFC, to be quite honest with you. I'll be, I point blank I shoot from the hip. You were the stars that you were one of the up and coming stars that really formed the USA and its UFC and its evolution when it was coming up. So you were actually one of the breakout stars in the UFC when the sport was just beginning to find itself in the evolution of MMA. I believe you helped put the sport on the map with fights like against Liddell, Shamrock. I also saw it was a time also when boxing was on life support. The Klitschko's basically hijacked heavyweight boxing, and there was nothing there to fill that void. And then UFC comes along and just steals boxing thunder. That's how I saw it. And you were really one of the breakout stars, okay, of the evolution of UFC. And I got to give you props for that, Tito. The drama and the competitive rivalries that were being bred in the UFC were just not happening in boxing. Boxing, throughout history has been like this, up and down, up and down. But UFC supplied the rivalries, the drama that boxing was lacking. And I think it was you and Liddell and Shamrock. Now, here's the question I want to ask you, and a lot of people wanted me to ask this question. Well, first of all, how does it feel to be part of some of the most amazing history in the development of the UFC? How does that feel to know like you were one of the breakout stars?
I'm very thankful that support that I get through my fans that are able to notice that, because UFC have tried to erase my history of fighting in the UFC, of being a 5-time world champion. A lot of people don't know that because they've erased my. And it's just scary because I was one of the outspoken guys that are trying to fight for the fighters. People got to understand with UFC, and I'm in no bad terms with Dana. I'm no bad terms with UFC. I'm very thankful for what they did for my career, for my future, and give me the opportunities that I've had. But I've worked my ass off to get to those situations, to become a world champion, to become, a very fortunate person, to give my kids everything I never had as a kid growing up, with money, just clothes on their back, food in the refrigerator, the things that people take for granted sometimes. And I've been very fortunate because I've put my life on the line of doing that. I've having 8 surgeries, but bouncing back every single one of those surgeries and still competing with no excuses of doing it.
Listen,
but at the time of getting only 6% of the revenue that is made from the fights that I fought, it just didn't make sense to me. But at the same time, I signed the contract. I get it, but I think you'd make more smarter business. It was more of a partnership. It was more of how kind of boxing is, where they cut, it's a third goes to the fighter, a third goes to the other fighter, and a third goes to the promotion. That's how it should have been. And it never was like that. It was always about building the UFC. And I get it. And I got an opportunity to walk away in 2013, and it wasn't the factor that I was retiring from the sport in general. It was just I had to get away to redo my life. I had to get my family together. My ex, Jenna Jameson, I had a lot of problems at home with that, and I had to, find happiness. There was so much negative stuff in my life. I was just losing myself. I was losing my life. I was losing my house. I was losing my family in general, and I had to make sure my kids were going to have everything that I dreamt of as a kid. And I had made the sacrifice of getting rid of her and taking full custody of my children. Meeting my girlfriend, Amber Nicole Miller, that I've been with now for 8 years, was the love of my life. And I'm very thankful of her saving me and my children. But I had to make the sacrifice of doing this. I had to do the same thing that my mother did when she was going through the problems with my father and separate away from my father, because my father had a bad drug problem. And she got sober and got me away from him and was able to save my life. I found wrestling that really saved me. My true name is Jacob. If anybody don't know that, my true name is Jacob. In the Bible, Jacob wrestled against an angel. The angel beat him and saved his life. Well, wrestling saved my life, and I got that opportunity to do this through fighting. I got this opportunity to do this through wrestling. Put me through college. It got me educated. It got me smart enough to run my own businesses now with Punishment Athletics. I got into the car business. I got into that. That was too shady. I got into a lot of things that I really understood business in general, but at the end of the day was to look in the mirror and knowing that I'm helping people around me. I want to be a high school wrestling coach. I want to be a school teacher. But at the same time, I was like, making 40, 50 grand a year wasn't going to cut it for me, because I had bigger, brighter future. I wanted to do great things. So the MMA stuff, being in the business world and being a fighter, I understood like that. I'm thankful for my fans once again, because I got to say, they have made me the icon of mixed martial arts. I did the work, but they're the ones that have supported me to get to that position. I'm very, very thankful for my fans, and I'm far from being over. I'm 46 years old, but I feel like I'm like 35. I feel young. But once again, it's just the transitions that I've had through my life to mature to where I am today. I was a kid still growing up. I had a conversation yesterday with one of my friends, and it was when I was 21, I was really like 16. When I was 5, I was maybe 21. When I was 30, I was maybe 24. I mean, it was just
a late
weird.
bloomer.
That was totally different. But now that I'm 46 now, I feel like I'm like 35, man. I feel good. My body feels good. I've had, a great surgeon. I've done great surgeries. But once again, it's what I have between the eyes, man, the brain, that just makes me mentally strong to keep myself focused of working hard. I don't have a nutritionist. I'm my own nutritionist. I eat everything that I need to eat to make myself perform in the manner that I need to be successful. The hard work I put in, the bag work, the mitt work, all this stuff I do on my own. Jason doesn't have to call me up and say, Tito, get in the gym. I'm at the gym early. I'm wrapping my own hands. I don't have anybody to push me. I don't need anybody to push me.
You shouldn't. No. I've never met a champion fighter that had to have someone to push them into the gym. They get there on their own. They do their work. They don't have to be told when to run. They run. They get those miles in. They hit the road. They do all that. About Dana White, though, I see him say some crushing things about fighters, especially to every chance he gets to knock down De La Hoya. De La Hoya, the cocaine, this and that. Have things iced over with you and Dana now? Are you and Dana on good terms, would you say? Or you just kind of split, don't want to talk, it's kind of over, like a bad breakup?
I try to reach out to him from time to time. He'll just say hi. I mean, I think I kind of hurt his feelings a lot when Chuck called me out and said he was going to knock me out, and then I ended up knocking Chuck out. I think that really hurt his feelings a lot.
Because Chuck was his boy.
I'm not going to say I apologize for it, because Chuck called me out, and I told Chuck straight to his face, you understand I'm going to hurt you, right? And he still didn't get it. But after the fight was over, it was just like, Chuck is an old man. Tito should never fought him. That's not the prime Chuck. People need to understand, I didn't call Chuck out. I never said nothing. He's the one called me out saying, Tito's not going to even show up to the fight. All this propaganda has been pushed against me with UFC and Chuck Liddell. It was all fabricated. Me and Chuck Liddell used to be boys, but he showed his true colors, and it's okay. I'm happy. My life has changed, and the things between me and Dana, it's behind me. It's my past. I ain't looking behind me. I'm always looking forward. I'm not looking at my footsteps behind me. I'm not looking at my shadows behind me. I'm looking forward. I'm looking for the future, because I want to be successful. I want to continue on and giving my children just the mentality and the ideology of being a successful person in life. Either it's fighting, either it's business, or either it's just being a good man on this planet right now, man. And we need a lot more better men. And I'm making some strong men. I got my son Jacob who's 19. He got a full ride to Arizona State University. And then I got my twins, Jesse and Journey, who are 12 and straight A students. And I really have them questioning everything.
How many kids do you have? How many kids do you have?
I have 3 boys.
3 boys. Oh, wow. 3 boys. And they're all wrestlers? They're all in the fight game?
Not in the fight game. Well, my oldest son, Jacob, he's in the wrestling. He's been wrestling since he's been 6. He won the state title in Arizona just this last year. He actually is now going to ASU, and he'll redshirt this year, but he's wrestling with a lot of tough guys, national champions, Valencia that's there, and there's a bunch of other guys that they recruited in. So I just want him to get educated. And he says, Dad, I'm not sure if I want to fight. I go, listen, son, I don't care if you want to fight. I don't care if you do. I don't care if you don't. I just want you to be educated and understand everything and question everything and just understand what we have in this country right now, because it's being lost.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And before we step into the politics, I wanted to ask you, and I've always been curious about this. A lot of my friends that were world champions and other fighters, they would always say, man, you go to your deathbed remembering certain fights. I have some in my mind that I'm like, damn, I remember that son of a bitch. It was a tough motherfucker. You got these, I got hit the hardest by this guy or that guy. What, and I know your career is not over, so you may have more fights to come that you'll be tested once again. But as of right now, when you go to your deathbed, what fights are you going to remember? Who were your biggest grudge matches? Who was your toughest fight?
Gosh, I would say one of my toughest fights would have to be Vanderlei Silva. When I won my world title against him, he was the axe murderer from Brazil. He was just almost murdering people in Japan. He was killing people in Pride, just nonstop. And I got the call. Frank Shamrock didn't want to fight me in a rematch, and all of a sudden, Joe Silva told me, he goes, what do you think about fighting Vanderlei Silva? I was like, what? He's all, it's a vacant world title. You could fight him. And I remember I was in Abu Dhabi at the Submission World Championships. I was going to wrestle for 3rd and 4th at the absolute weight. And I pulled out of the tournament because I said, okay, let's do it. Here's my opportunity. Here's my chance. And I focused really, really hard on the fight, on a training camp. I moved myself to Las Vegas. I was training, 6 days a week for 8 weeks. And I remember looking across at him, and the guy's shredded, a monster. I mean, he was head kicking, kneeing people, just slicing people's faces open. I was like, this guy's vicious. But I remember in the second round, I hit him with the right hand and dropped him. I heard him go, oh, and he was on his back, and I was trying to finish him, and he ended up the round being over. And then in the 3rd round, I went to go head kick him, and he caught my foot and hit me with the right hand. And when he hit me with the right hand, it hit me so hard, it felt like I went upside down. But I didn't go upside down. I just went to a knee. And I remember kind of running away from him and him chasing me, screaming, going, ah. And talking about having that little instinct of fear of going, okay, it's either do or die right now. Either you let him finish you or you survive. And there was a little angel on my shoulder going, no, Tito, survive. And that's when I survived, and I out-wrestled, and I took him down. I won by decision. But we both took a beating, man. His face was super swollen. My face was swollen. I remember flying back from Japan, and the stewardess walked up to me. She's like, are you okay? What happened to you? I'm all, I just fought for world title. I'm the world champ. She goes, did you fight that guy that's in the front? Because he looks a lot worse than you. I go, yeah. And that was probably one of the most brutal fights that I've been in. But one of the best ones I would have to say would be against Ryan Bader. When I fought Ryan Bader, I was a 5-1 underdog. My back was against the wall. If I would have lost, I would have lost 4 fights. And people understand the 4 fights that I gained by winning that fight saved my life completely, saved my family's life financially like no other. And at the time I was with my ex and a very toxic relationship. And for 8 weeks, I lived in the same home with her, slept in the same bed with her, but never spoke a word to her. I took care of my boy. Morning, I drop them off at school. I come back when they got back from school.
And you're talking about Jenna, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then I would come back and take care of him for a little bit. The nanny would come over. I'd go back to training. And I did this for 8 weeks. Never said a word to her. And I remember packing my bags and going to Vegas, and her saying, please, can we talk? And I look at her and go, you know what? I can't handle the toxic stuff. Let me finish this fight. It's everything's on the line here. If I lose this, I'm getting dropped from the UFC. And I remember going and I went to Michael Bisping's Ultimate Fighter, and the guys were like, Tito, hey man, can you do the grave digger for us, man? Show you how you do it. I go, you guys got to wait until Saturday, because on Saturday I'm going to do it. They're like, no, really, because they thought I was going to lose. They're like, no, really, can you do it? I go, wait until Saturday. And I remember in the first round, and I hit him with a right hook, and he dropped, and I choked him. And the first thing that popped in my mind when he tapped and I got to my feet was, the grave digger's coming. And let me tell you, the most happiest feeling and the most gratification feeling I ever had in my life was that feeling right there, because I believed in myself, and no one else believed in me. My camp believed in me. Jason Caprillo believed in me. My coaches that helped me for that camp believed in me. And I remember doing interviews prior to that fight, and people saying, so what are you going to do after this fight, Tito? Are you like, can you do commentating? You're going to do other things? I know you're not going to fight anymore. You're going to retire. I was looking at him. I go, what are you talking about? I'm going to win this fight. And I shocked the world that night. And I plan on doing it on September 11th. I'm just excited, because when my back's pressed against the wall, that's when I fight the best. I fight with emotions.
You perform under pressure. You're a clutch fighter. Yes, so sir. Let me ask you, so you decide, I guess you stepped away from the sport a little bit and you decided to go into politics. It was a couple of years ago, right? Or about a year ago, was it? How long ago?
It was actually, I would say August of 2020. So we had a little situation happen here in Huntington Beach. There was a lot of the riots happening from BLM in LA, and they started moving closer south towards Huntington. They went to Long Beach, Garden Grove, Santa Ana, and they came to Huntington one weekend, and Chuck Liddell was down there, and I guess a few fights broke out. A few people got punched in the face, and I didn't want nothing about it. People are going to protest. Once again, I'm not a politician, man. I'm not into politics at all. I didn't really care about it. When Trump ran for president, I was like, you know what? I know who Trump is. I've known him since 2001. I was on The Celebrity Apprentice. I worked with them. I know Don Jr. I know Eric. I know Ivanka. I know how great this family is and how successful they are. And I know how, actually at the time, I really didn't know how corrupt politicians were, but I've always heard it from other people from just hearsay. But when Trump ran, I was like, you know what? I'm going to back him. And people say, oh, you're a white supremacist and you're a sellout.
You're a Mexican white supremacist.
I never got it. I'm like, people, you understand this is America? Have you guys ever traveled outside of your city or your town or your state or even the country? Have you even traveled outside of it and gone to Venezuela or Cuba or China or Japan or, different countries? Because I've gone to those. And every time I came back home, I kissed the ground when I got home and going, thank God I live in America. But then I watched of how hard the left was just trying to take over this one world government and the new world order. And people said, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Wow, 2021, talk about a kick in your ass and a little bit of truth pie coming back.
People are waking up, man, and they have no choice because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Scary because there's a lot of things that are happening. But I mean, just to go back to the story, here in Huntington, that one weekend, there's a couple fights, and then the police dispersed them, saying it was unlawful assembly. And I got a message on my Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999. And once again, you got to punch in literally Tito Ortiz 1999. And it says, are you sure you want to follow this person because the information he says is not true? So once again, I'm getting shadow banned. It's fine. But I got the message, and it said from guys from BLM saying they didn't finish the job the first time. They're to come back and burn the city down.
Oh, wow.
Women and the kids.
They sent that message to you?
Yes.
That's fucking crazy.
And I sent it to the HBPD. And when I seen that message, I was like, no, bro, you're in the wrong town. That shit ain't happening here in Huntington Beach. So I called about 30 or 40 of my friends. And I said, guys, we need to go down and make sure they don't burn down HB. And it happened on a Saturday. So it was on a Friday. One of my friends from LA Sheriff, he gave me a little bit of intel of, how these guys are going to line up and how the police are going to line up and what to look out for. Always make sure you keep an eye on hands and eyes. He gave me a bulletproof vest just in case things did pop off. And I called my buddies. I said, you know what? I'm going to make a shirt. This is HB Strong on the front of it. I go, I'm going to give you the shirt. You guys got to make sure. I don't care if they talk about your mom. I don't care if they spit on you. I don't care if they do anything. We're there to protect the buildings. That's it. If fights break out, don't do anything. Let the officers handle their job. 9 a.m., I went down there. And during that week, I would wake up at 8 in the morning, I would go downtown, and because we have alleys in the downtown area, and I would go drive in the downtown area and go look for bricks, go look for something that's just suspicious. And I was doing my part. I love Huntington Beach. I've lived there my whole life. I want to protect this city. This is a conservative city. One of the only conservative. I mean, we're the top 4 in the United States of being a conservative city. I wanted to make sure that things were going to happen and weren't going to go south. And I looked, I couldn't find anything through the whole week. So Saturday morning, I went down there at 9 a.m. and I was handing t-shirts to each one of my friends. And I said, listen, once again, if anybody comes in your face, you can't say nothing. I go, we got to hold the line. We got to make sure they do not walk downtown, because I spoke to the officers and they said, we can't stop them from walking downtown. I go, but can we stop them from walking downtown? He goes, Tito, we cannot stop them from walking downtown. So I was like, oh, I get the hint.
I get to know.
So we stood on Main Street in PCH, and on the other side of the pier, all of a sudden there was 40 people in BLM shirts, and half of them were white kids with green hair. Then all of a sudden it became 100, then became 500, then became 1,000, then became 2,000. And there was probably a good, 3,000 of residents from HB all sitting down there, and all local guys that I know. And as I gave them their shirts, I said, you can't do nothing, just hold the line. And we stood there, and nothing happened. And all of a sudden, from the day prior, when I was talking to my friend who was a sheriff, he goes, you got to watch out for markers. You'll see guys that'll come from your side and will walk and will start something to get you guys to
like instigators.
Yes, instigators that'll come to kind of bring you guys together, so the cops will circle you and they don't know who's who. And this situation happened because it was 3 black guys and 2 Samoan cats, and they had red bandanas on their neck. And I look, and they're all dressed in black, and they just had a red bandana on their neck. And I look and I go, ooh, there they are right there. And they walk through our guys. And as soon as they walked through their guys, they got to the end and they shoved an old man to the ground. And then a fight broke out. And then my guys started rushing to go stop the fight. I go, stop. We're here for the buildings. Only the buildings. Let the officers do their job. And then when that happened, I looked to my left and I saw about 14 or 15 guys all in BLM stuff, and they try to circle behind us. They try to flank us. I looked at them. I go, hey, bro, wrong side. You can go the other way. And they looked at me and stopped. And they go one of the guys, hey, that's Tito Ortiz. I go, yeah. I go, you're in the wrong neighborhood, bro. You guys are on the other side. And they kind of turned around, walked over to the other side, and kind of funny because there was cops right behind them. They looked at me and they just kind of smiled and were like, right on. They didn't push. We held our ground. The officers broke the fight up. And all of a sudden it went from the 2,000 to the 1,500 to the 500 to 200 to 100 to 50. And all it was 50 kids, about maybe 14 to.
And they're all, and most of them are white, right? Most of them are
all white.
Like pasty fucking blue hair, cotton candy looking motherfuckers.
and it's sad because where are their parents, man? Where are their parents in doing it? And once again, that day we stood our ground. Huntington didn't get burnt down. Santa Ana got burnt down. Long Beach got burnt down. Garden Grove got burnt down. All of LA got burnt down. But HB, we stood strong because we care about this city. And it was just, it was a paid event by the left. And it's scary because they're willing to do that. They're willing to do that to destroy a city, to destroy the cities, destroy America as they did through that time. It's just propaganda, man. And it's scary because it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's becoming more and more frequent. All of a sudden BLM's nowhere to be seen. And now it's we're terrorists of the country.
Yeah. Now they're planning to flip it on the Trump supporters and whatever false flag events they can bring into the open and blame Trump supporters. So this is all getting engineered. It's all been engineered. We know that. You know, it's New World Order stuff. It's engineered. The open borders, the deep state politicians. This is all very highly engineered. People need to understand that. But you ran for a political position in Huntington, right?
Yeah. So then that's what gave me the idea. I was like, you know what? Trump's doing it for America. I'm going to do it for HB. I'm not a politician. I'm really an honest man who wants a great future for my children, for my community. I love Huntington, man. I live on the water. I'm living the American dream, and I don't want to lose it. So I was like, you know what? I think I'll step in as city council. I want to be mayor of Huntington Beach. And I ran my campaign as, make HB safe again. And I won, got the most votes in Huntington Beach history. But I really didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know how deep the deep state truly was. And it is deep.
Dude, you got to explain.
It is really deep here in Huntington Beach. The politics are Democrat owned for sure. and they're infiltrating like no other. And it's scary because now Huntington Beach got to step up. I'm one person. I'm a big name. $1,400 a month was not paying for the abuse that I was getting from the city council. I was attacked every single week for 6 months, all the way up to saying I was committing fraud against my city. I was committing fraud against the government. To my children won't wear a mask, and
they were bullying you, dude. They were bullying you and abusing you, literally,
big time, every week. And once again, let me tell you, I mean, I got to a point where $1,400 a month is not paying my bills. I'm losing money doing this. And then when they start attacking my name and saying I'm a fraud and saying I'm committing, just illegal stuff against our city, that's hurting my name. That's hurting my businesses. And I'm 46. I still got a long life to go. And when they start ruining my name and my character, assassinating my character, I was like, this is not worth it. I can't do this. So I stepped down. And once again, when my children got put on the news of not wearing a mask and, oh, Tito Cheese's kids are too good to wear a mask. That's not what it's about. It's about the control. It's about the health issues my children are going to have later on in life if their lungs are not going to develop the right way. My children are growing right now. My children are small, and they're going to be 6'3", 6'4", and man, they're barely 5 foot. They're going to grow. Their lungs need to grow. Their muscles need to grow. Their bodies need to grow.
And not to mention, you make your body highly acidic wearing that shit. You breathe in your own carbon dioxide. And people ask me in El Paso all the time. People are like, oh, man, run for politics out here, man. You could be the mayor. You just what you just said should convince and let everyone know this is why I'm not doing it. Your experience. And I was curious about that because your experience just put the nail in the coffin for me to ever. The whole system needs to change. It's rigged. 100%. It's dirty. It's like you said, Democrat owned. It's radical, and they will destroy your character, everything about you. And they did with you. They went after you from the get-go.
Well, one of my buddies who's a big business owner in Cerritos, I talked to him and he goes, Tito, just walk away peacefully. He goes, walk away peacefully. Don't do anything. Just walk away peacefully because they'll do anything they possibly can to destroy you. And people got to understand, I came from nothing. I mean, I was a kid growing up. I lived in motels. I was on government cheese. I was on food stamps because my parents didn't want to be successful. I don't want to be like that. I am not a victim. I refuse to be a victim of society. I'm a hardworking citizen of America that's going to give back, pay my taxes, do everything by the book. But at the same time, I'm not going to let my family be attacked. And I had to walk away. And I walked away, and it was the best thing ever because it was having a big impact on my life. It was having a big impact on my relationship with Amber. It was having a big impact relationship with my kids. So much as when I quit and resigned, my boys came up and gave me a big hug and go, "Thank you, Dad. Now you can be back with us." That was the most hardest thing for me to do because I don't quit on anything I do. And I don't even say I quit. I say I resigned and I got bullied out. If I was making, $6-7 grand a month to pay some of my bills, I would have stayed and I would have fought. But I wasn't. I was ruining my name. Or excuse me, rephrase that. They were ruining my name. Right. And I'm not that. Anybody knows me personally, they know what type of person I am. People who don't know me, they think, oh, I'm the Huntington Beach bad boy. I'm an asshole. I'm cocky. No, it's called confidence. I believe in myself. I was a kid who had nothing, and I still don't have anything. You want to know what I have? I have my kids. I have my girlfriend. I have my mom. I have my brothers, and that's pretty much it. Half of my family don't even like me because I support Trump, and it's scary because they were supporting Trump, and all of a sudden, when everything got switched over, and they're believing all this social media, or all this mainstream media, and then all of a sudden they switch. They're like, "Oh, this is the right way." It's like people are so just
brainwashed.
And it's crazy. It's like people have became sheep. I mean, we have no more lions out there, man. There's no more people who want to own the fact of just being a bystander here in America and fighting for our freedoms. And
we are the last domino to fall. Once we fall, it's a wrap. There's nowhere else to go, folks. This is it. And people like Tito, myself, that stand up for our freedoms, we understand that this is it. There's nowhere else to go. This is the last stand. This is the Alamo, folks. And what's happening right now is it takes patriots like Tito or myself and others out there. And I like that we're both fighters and we're both voicing our opinions. But that's probably what it takes, Tito. People that have been in the ring that fight. But I will never run. I'll never run for politics in this rigged system. It's rigged.
Yeah, and you know what? I really want to get something across to people who are your viewers and people who are going to be new to watching this right now. You guys got to understand, people like myself and Nino, we're just trying to spread the word, but we can't fight your battles. You guys need to step up and fight the battles yourself. Don't wear a mask if you don't want to wear a mask. People tell you to wear a mask, say it's a mandate. A mandate is a strong suggestion. It is not a law. Make them take you to jail. Stand up and fight for your freedoms, because this is all we have left, people. I mean, it's
if we don't do it, nobody else will.
People are willing to comply and just say, okay. We're gonna say okay. That's what the Jews did back in when they got killed, man. It's so scary because it's happening. History is repeating itself right now, and people don't see it because they said, "Oh, it's not going to happen here." It's happening, folks.
You know what?
Happening.
You know what, Tito? I always say that we're in that point in history when the Jews were like, you know what? The ones that stayed ahead of the curve that were like, hey, I think it's time we get the fuck out of here. And those Jews were leaving. The other ones stayed. I think that's where we're at in the country right now. The climate, the temperature in the country right now is, I mean, we know we're on the verge of civil unrest, civil war, you know, and I hope we don't get there. I hope we don't get there.
I hope we don't either. But once again, I mean, people got to stand up and start fighting. I mean, this whole situation with kids wearing masks in school, parents, take your kids out of school. I know it's going to be hard. I did it. My kids are homeschooled now. The state pays for it. We applied for it. We got it. My kids are being homeschooled now. They got a computer. Now I can see what they're being taught. It's important. The mask situation, do not comply. This is your choice. This is America. Don't let them get away with the murder they've already been doing. The vaccine situation.
Hold on. Wait. Be careful on the back. Be careful on saying those words, because they'll like, okay, unbelievably they'll censor the channel.
All right. Well,
and I want this to hit. I want this to hit a wide audience.
Yes, sir.
You know how to.
I'll take that back. Between the lines, and it's important. And I know you have a lot of fans who really do believe, but you guys just don't believe us. You guys need to start fighting for yourselves.
They're used to my code language. I use signals like this for what. Yeah, but it's just because they have this AI that follows everything, and it's ridiculous. So, Tito, you know, how many back to your fight, the fight game. How much longer do you feel like fighting? What's your goals coming up? What goals do you have in the fight game?
My goals right now is just make sure I just kind of solidify myself in the boxing realm. Once again, I have huge respect for all the boxers who put in all the work of many years, but I want to challenge myself. I want to challenge myself and fight some big names and have fun doing it. I want to have fun in my life. Over this last year and a half, it's been scary because I haven't worked in 18 months. I've dug into my savings, and it's scary because, at the end of the day, people say, oh, money and everything. Well, you know what? If you've never lived on government cheese, you never lived on powdered milk, and you never lived on food stamps, you don't know what being broke is. You want to know what happy is? Is seeing a smile on my child's face, not worrying about what he's going to eat tomorrow, not worrying about the lights going to be on tomorrow, not worried if he's going to have hot water tomorrow, and walking up to you and saying, thank you, Dad, I love you, and being able to take my child out to dinner. Those are scary things where as a child, I never got to have. Missing Christmases because we couldn't afford it. Telling my friends that, my parents aren't home, they're out of town because I lived in a motel and I was too embarrassed to bring friends over my house. I don't ever want that for my kids. And when I brought children into this world, I want to make sure that I was financially able to support them. Not just financially, but mentally and lovingly and physically able to support them. And I'm able to do that. And I'm not going to lose that because I'm a hardworking American that believes in the American dream. And I'm not going to be a victim to society. I refuse to. And it's just one of those things that I tell my children the same thing. Question everything and make sure that you guys know the truth. Don't let people pull the wool over your face. Pull that wool over your eye. Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Open them up and see what's around you. Question everything. And my children are like that. And it's good because they don't believe what someone tells them. They ask questions and they look it up and they find answers. And that's what's important. And that's what makes us a little different, I think that's why I'm a fighter. And I think that's always fought. I had 3 choices in life: dead, in prison, or where I am right now.
Exactly.
I think I made great choices in life.
Those are my choices, identical choices: prison, death, or this, what I'm doing now. Tito, I appreciate you coming on, man. Breath of fresh air for me, bro. It's great to see another fighter in the fight, man. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. You know, I see on your Instagram you're always out there fishing, man. Maybe if I get out there to Hunting Beach one day, we can go fishing.
Yeah, I mean, after the fight, after the 11th, I got some trips coming up that I'm gonna go do. But I mean, I have my boat right here by my house. We gotta go catch some tuna. That'd
Hell
be
yeah.
amazing. And once again, I mean, a lot of people direct messaging me a lot of information, and I thank you guys for all the information. You guys direct message me on my Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999. Of course, you guys can follow me on my Telegram. It's Punishment Patriot. You guys can follow me on there. I post stuff that I can't post on Instagram because they erase it, so I post it on there. It's just crazy right now how we're being censored, how we're being just canceled. It's crazy because it's America.
Look what I had to do right now. Even when you said that word, I had to say, whoa, stop. It would have bombed this whole interview. It's unbelievable.
And then I get a lot of parents who reach out to me and saying, what do I do with my kids? You know, what about work? You know, from getting this, I don't want to lose my job. I'm like, let them fire you. People understand this is a discrimination claim. If they fire you, is different. If you quit, now you quit on your own. People, stand up for yourselves. I can't do it. People who are doing all these, you know, protests against all these things will get up and stand up and do something. I'm one voice. You guys are millions of voices. You guys be the voices. We'll be able to educate you a little bit on it. I mean, you know, you do an amazing job of stuff you do. And
thank you.
I really have been able to let go here in the last 4 months. It's June 1st. I've been able to let go a little bit because I can't control anything. What I can control is what's around me. And that's all I can control. My children's future, my future, and my surrounding of my life and my family. That's all I can control. Everybody else, I'm not gonna say you're on your own because you're not on your own. We're behind you, but you need to be the ones to step up. Let's all be leaders, not just one person and all of us follow one person. No, all of us be leaders. And that's how we're gonna make it work. That's how we're gonna win.
Beautiful, man, Tito. So September 11th on
Yes.
Triller. Tito, Huntington Beach bad boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Tito Ortiz versus Anderson Silva. Hey, brother, I'll be out there in OC at some point, and hopefully I get to hang out with you and BJ Penn, maybe Pat. I'd like to see Pat again, and definitely J-Bone, Jason Perillo. You guys are all awesome, man. You're like some of the coolest cats out there in Orange County. So thank you so much, Tito, for coming on the program. And I'll be premiering this tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you, man. All my fellow Patriots, all my fans, thank you guys so much for your support. September 11th, live on pay-per-view, me versus Anderson Silva. It's going to be fun in this
prediction. I need a prediction.
You're going to see an exciting fight. I'm going to try to knock his ass out, but he's a little elusive, and I get it. But I'm going to put on a show, man. I'm going to fight with heart and soul, and that's why I've always fought, and everything's on the line for me. It's not going to be the last one, but I guarantee you it's going to be an exciting one.
Maybe I'll make it out there. Thank you, Tito, once again for being on the Nino's Corner.tv, homie.
Awesome, man. God bless. Thank you.
God bless you.